Whoa.
4, check, 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 check. What's going on? I cringe moment. Welcome everybody to the 5th episode of Dragon's Den Pitch Review with me, Philip Rainaby, the stuttering rhetorician. Today's theme is how to make a great first impression. During just the first 3 seconds in an introduction, when you meet somebody new for the first time, you already has gotten your first impression. During these first 3 seconds, we take everything into account, like appearances, outfit, hair, type of attitude, how we speak, what we say, how our body language is looking. So how do we do this in a pitch? How do we get a first impression to really be a slam dunk, to really be great, so that we start off on the right foot and get the audience with us? In order to make a great first impression, there are a few things that you need to achieve. And there are 3 key feelings that you want to inject in your audience when you start your pitch. And the first feeling that you need to inject in your audience is benevolence. Because if the audience is going to want to hear what you have to say, you need to be perceived as a kind and good person who has good intentions. The second feeling is curiosity. You want the audience to feel curious about what you are going to say, what you're going to pitch. And it's really important to state early in your pitch, how is this information, this message I'm giving to you right now, how is that relevant to you as a member of the audience? And the third feeling that you want to inject in your audience is credibility. I'm gonna throw in a bonus here because there is a 4th feeling, and that is the wow factor. So how do you create that wow factor? Well, maybe tell them something about yourself that they didn't expect, or do something unexpected, but something that is to your benefit as you continue your pitch. We're going to review the first 30 to 60 seconds of several pitches, and I'm going to give you some advice on what these people do good and what they can improve. Let's kickstart this 5th episode of Dragon's Den Pitch Review.
Long time ago, there's a mama's boy, a little fat, 'cause food brought him joy. His mama makes the best chili paste. When he left home, he missed all that taste. What taste? Sweet chili paste, fat chili paste. I'm so in love with your exotic taste. You'll understand what's all the craze. It's time to buy and invest in my toast chili paste.
Okay.
Well done. Great.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Will and I'm the heart of Mato. At Mato, we make one of the best Malaysian artisans in the UK and possibly the world based on a recipe I nicked from my mom.
So if we go back to the checklist, does he create benevolence? Well, yes, he smiles, he looks positive, he talks about his past, he talks about his mother, that creates positive emotions. Number 2, curiosity. Yes, he starts off by playing a guitar that really stands out. He does talk during his presentation about his brand, about his company, and what it generally does. So that creates the curiosity of continuing to listen to what he has to say. And number 3, does he establish credibility? Well, yes, in some way he does. By mentioning about his mother, about the recipe, it really establishes the credibility that this comes from a background and that this recipe has perhaps gone through generations. So that in itself is a form of credibility that he established. What about the wow factor? Well, he started off by singing and by bringing a guitar, so that really stands out. So I'm gonna say to check on the wow factor as well. I would say it's 4 check, 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 check when it comes to giving a great first impression.
Because I'm a clothing brand, I think Tucker Solomon has the most valuable experience in that field, and it'd be amazing to have him. Whoa. Hello, dragons. My name is Louis, and I'm here today to raise 80,000 pounds for a 6% stake in my company, Ohm. Ohm is a men's activewear brand with deep roots in yoga and wellness.
Really interesting way of starting this. So let's go through the checklist. Benevolence? Well, I would say yes, he could be more positive and create more positive emotions by smiling, but I would say that his intentions is quite good here, so I would say it's basically yes, check on benevolence. What about curiosity? Well, that goes in hand with the wow factor, which one of the dragons actually says. Whoa! So how did he create this wow factor and curiosity? Well, he stood on his hands as the elevator door opened, which they possibly did not expect. So he did something unexpected. But here's the cool thing. What he did unexpectedly also transfers to his brand and to his credibility, because he runs a yoga brand. In yoga, these movements are perhaps something that you would generally do. So here he's actually able to transfer his credibility as an entrepreneur to the wow factor, and that's really impressive. So try to find out how can your wow factor be connected to your credibility as an entrepreneur. Alright, moving on to the third introduction.
Come on, don't be scared, dragons.
Bit of a cringe moment.
Hello, my name is Andrew Hannon. I'm here today asking for £50,000 in return for 20% equity of my company, 13 Horror Limited. My business, as I've tried to show, is fear.
This is not really my cup of tea when it comes to giving off a first impression in a great way. I think he had great intentions. I think he thought in the right direction about connecting a wow factor to what his brand does, in this case horror. But the moment of cringe appears just because it doesn't really feel really well thought through. The whole moment with the mask is not really giving off the impression of horror, at least not in my book. But let's go through the checklist. So benevolence, sure, not really check on that one, because when you want to give off the impression that you want people well, you want people good, you really need to show that, and in this case, when he works with horror, that might be difficult, but I would say that you could do it in a quite different way in order to establish the benevolence. When it comes to curiosity, well, it's a bit of a curiosity thing when he is pulling this sketch off, but if you want to make a great impression and still establish curiosity, it needs to be a little more well worked out through, and role play like this is very difficult. So I would say that he could have done it, but in a slightly different way to establish more curiosity. Number 3, credibility. Maybe, because credibility in this case is connected to his actions in horror. Does he pull off horror in this case? No, the acting here is becoming a little bit cringe. It feels maybe a little bit of a shock, but you don't really feel fear. So if he wanted to establish fear in the people he talked to and pitched to in order to establish credibility for his product, he didn't really go all the way. Wow factor, number 4, sort of. I would not say that this gave off a wow factor. This mostly gave off a feeling like, what's going on? I don't really understand. And if you don't understand, well, you can't be curious about what's going to happen. So I think the transition from the first impression to when he starts to talk about his product and is just not working out the way I think he intended it to do.
Hi, my name's Martin Cowley and this is my wife,
Susan Cowley.
and we are Cowley's Fine Foods. I do Martin's jerk meat, which is a range of beef jerkies, biltongs, all homemade, all home produced with no additives or E-numbers at all.
I see two problems here. First of all, if you're going up to people dressed in a specific way and you want to make a good first impression and not have them feeling prejudice against you, you need to have an outfit and a communicative way that is reflecting you in a way that they feel credibility. If you stand out too much and you are trying to convince people about something and your appearance, everything about you is standing out in a way that they perhaps wouldn't be positive to, that is just going to slam your first impression. You see one of the dragons here going, oh, because he has prejudices against these people. Now you should be able to dress and act just any way you want, and people should still respect you and be kind towards you. But you can't expect people to invest money in you and their time and effort in you if they have prejudice about you, if they don't feel connected to you. Communication is about connecting people. And if your attitudes, your way of life, your style is just very different from the people you are pitching to, they are never gonna bond with you. And if you can't bond with them, they're never going to invest time, money, or energy in you or your product or services. We're actually going to look a bit on here and see what they do say more about this, because I think it's quite interesting to see just how they respond in the questions to this kind of outfit.
What about employing a salesman? Because of his sort of image and look, he might need to have a more conventional...
Can I just interrupt there? I wouldn't be doing it because of my image and look.
Okay.
I'll be doing it because hopefully I'll be doing other things as well. I don't think image is such a...
Martin,
important.
believe me, if you came to my premises to sell your product, you wouldn't get through the door.
Okay.
Okay? Now, I'm not the only one who would tell you that. So it does matter. So if I'm going to invest in you, and you say to me, I don't care what a potential customer thinks, I'm going to dress like this. I'm going to have red hair.
That's in certain. But if for instance, one of the things I'd like to do is spend more time out selling it at prestigious shows, like shows like Glastonbury and the Reading, where people come to a store because somebody might look a bit like this.
We're talking about a scalable business. We're talking about going out there and gearing up your production base to sell volume. So going back to Duncan's earlier point, I would have a problem if you look like that, because I think my customers would have a problem.
That would be. We've never put any customers off in the past at all.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we
yeah.
are talking food stuff,
Yeah.
right? And when people think food, they do think a very sharp, clean, clinical view. You don't look clean, you don't look clinical. And that's a problem for me.
Do you see the issue here? You see,
Oh, yeah,
You've
yeah.
got
we
to
totally
discuss-
understand what
No,
you're
the
saying.
point is, we're now discussing your image. We're not discussing your
Yeah.
product.
That's
We felt it would be better to come on in the way that we feel comfortable.
That this is an absolute prime example of getting the image wrong.
That's what I expected them to say. Can he dress like this? Yes, he can. There's absolutely no problem, and I don't want anybody to disrespect anybody in any way. But when it comes to communication, if you want to bond with people, you need to dress like them, you need to have an attitude and a mind that is going to be able to bond. But their appearance, their dress is so provocative, is so different that it's become the only thing that they can talk about here. And that's the problem, because they're talking here about something that is perhaps a good product, something that can really grow into a great business. And everything gets destroyed because of that first impression. So really think about, how do you dress, how do you act? Everything goes into that first impression. And halfway through the pitch, they are still talking about that first impression, which really isn't good if it's going like this. So if you want to make a great first impression, you have gotten some advice and some tips right here that I think that you can really benefit from. Thank you so much for watching this 5th episode of Dragon's Den Pitch Review. Remember to subscribe to this channel for more upcoming reviews of Dragon's Den, and I will see you in the 6th episode. Take care.